But we are going to play music for you and also explain the history of American popular music, and particularly how it evolves from the interaction between white musicians and black musicians in America. If there were no musicians from Africa, there would be no American music. There would be only European music played in America. But because of the Africans, they brought with them their own music. And in America, the music of Africa and Europe came together to form American music. Gracias. So the basic thing that all musicians do is imitate one another. Musicians always listen to other musicians, and we hear what they're doing, and we imitate that. And we say in English, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. That means that when you imitate someone, you're actually showing respect. And one of the best examples of that in the 1950s was Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley loved African American music. He loved the blues and he loved gospel. But when he played that music, he played it his own way, with his own experience. And in that way, he changed it. And that made a totally different style of music that evolved into what we know as rock and roll. Walked through a party at the county jail. The prison band was there and they began to wail. The band was jumping out and they began to swing. You should have heard a locked up jailbird sing. Let's rock, everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole cell block dancing to the jailhouse rock. Thank you. But the imitation of black music by white musicians actually began more than 150 years before Elvis Presley. The very first type of American popular music was when white musicians began imitating black musicians who played this instrument. You all know what this is? It's the banjo. What you might not know, that the banjo came from Africa. When Africans were brought to America to be slaves, they brought their own music and their own instruments. And this was the first instrument that white musicians began playing in the style of black musicians. And when they did this, they put black color on their faces, so they even looked like black musicians. Now we're going to sing the very first million-seller hit song in American history. It sold 1 million pieces of sheet music in 1848. Well, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Going to Louisiana, my true love for to see. It rains all night the day I left, the weather it was dry. So hot I froze to death, Susanna, don't you cry. Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me, 'cause I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. What makes the blues so special is another element of music that came from Africa. It's a certain sound of the voice, at first, that we call blue notes. Blue notes are flatted notes. The flatted third, the flatted fifth, the flatted seventh. To the European ear, when they first heard Africans sing, Europeans said, oh, they're singing flat. They don't know how to sing correctly because they're singing with flatted notes. But actually, that's a very important element of African music. And that ability to bend a note is what gives the blues its emotional feeling and its kind of sad, sorrowful sound. So I'm going to play a harmonica solo from the most important state for the blues, the state of Mississippi. Little girl, I don't care no more. Well, I don't care where you go, I don't care no more.